Please help support the channel by visiting our Amazon store, affiliate link below. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel, and I think we've all been in a situation where somebody has defrauded us, stolen from us, taken something of ours that did not belong to them, and then either thrown it away, destroyed it, or done something. All right, just Christmas night, for example. I want to tell you a recent one real quick. Just Christmas night, came home from having Christmas dinner with my family, and then some asshole stole my girlfriend's SUV from our driveway. Christmas night. They rolled it in a creek about 10 minutes later, and it looks like they got pretty hurt, so I'm okay with that, but still. Yeah, I get that. So that's why I really hope Stan Lee gets ahead of the situation here. So Stan Lee seeks justice over stolen $300,000 check, believes it was an inside job. And when you go through the whole story and you look at the situation, oh, it has to be an inside job completely. Comic book legend Stan Lee has a caper to solve, but this time it doesn't involve superheroes or the big screen. I have a feeling that this particular subplot might end up in somebody's movie down the road. More as like of a nod to Stan Lee. Those who are in the know of who he is or what happened to him later on in life are going to be like, oh, I remember that, because it's really bad, but it's also like not like life ending. You know what I mean? Someone dipped into one of Stan Lee's accounts, taking $300,000, and he wants it back. The Spider-Man creator, who just turned 95 this week, filed a police report after the money was discovered missing. It reportedly took some digging, but money managers for Lee found a check drawn on one of Marvel Icon's accounts. The check was written from an account belonging to SL Productions. It was made out to Hands of Respect LLC, and based on a note written on the check, it was a loan. It was also dated for October 4th, 2014. And so we can take a look here, actually, at the check itself, according to the TMZ. And you can see that SL Productions Incorporated has written here, Hands of Respect LLC, $300,000. Now, the handwriting is garbage, which leads me to believe that this is written by a dude. Most women I know have very nice handwriting. That might be sexist of me to say, but every woman I know has good handwriting, with the exception of my sister. She has horrible handwriting, but then again, so do I, and I think it's because we're both left-handed. So there's that. You can also see Stan Lee's signature here, which, you know, looks pretty familiar if you've ever seen his signature before. It's pretty common. He once signed my Comic-Con badge in 2003, and then Ted Raimi, who is also starring in the Spider-Man movies that his brother Sam Raimi was directing, was signing my badge the next day, noticed Stan Lee's signature and was like, oh, Stan Lee, did he call you a true believer? And I'm all like, straight he did. So it's a well-recognizable signature, one that's been around for a long time. So we can see here that it says loan, that it's going through Bank of America. Really, Stan Lee Productions Incorporated? You're going through Bank of America? Look, we're going to have a serious talk about that, okay? No, dude. No. Credit union, son. Credit union. Anyway, so the check looks to be signed by Lee himself. However, those close to him say that the signature does not look authentic. Lee denies writing the check and also says that he did not authorize money to be withdrawn from that account for a loan to Hands of Respect. So here's something to think. Here's the thing. The Hands of Respect LLC. What is it? Well, this is Stan Lee's charity. Right? This is his own charity, which is one of the reasons why this has to be an inside job. It has to be an inside job because, well, at this point, we know that like really no other, person is going to have access to the account, to the check, to anything. So it's going to have to be a person on the inside. Probably Stan Lee Productions is probably going to be where you're going to find the mole, because they were going to get access to the check. Someone out there might sit there and say, oh, but it was Hands of Respect that was behind it. I don't think so. I think it was a deflection, and it was one that makes a lot of sense, because who's going to question why Stan Lee would give a loan of $300,000 to his own charity? No one would question that. It just wouldn't, you would go, oh, okay, I get it. Anyway, unfortunately, Stan Lee didn't loan the money to his own charity, Hands of Respect. Now, before I go any further, I'd just like to point out that this mentioning that this was his own charity should have been higher up in the article, right after it says Hands of Respect here. I just want to point out some of the inconsistencies with how this article is written and proofread, because I don't know if you guys caught up here. Shawnee Flowers here didn't put the dash in Spider-Man. So I just want to pause for a hot moment to stop and go, really? Does no one at the Inquisitor proofread this stuff? Obviously, the answer to that is no. Now, he and the Beverly Hills Police Department are trying to figure out who is responsible for the missing money. The department has just begun to investigate, according to the blast. Much is still not known about who is responsible and how they pulled it off. Detectives are reportedly still filing search warrants and gathering information that they need in order to investigate. Well, let's take a quick look here. Go back over to this check. Just go back over to the check here. What is it that we're not seeing on the alleged check? The back of the check. Now, whoever took this, like I said, was probably from SL Productions or had access to the SL Productions checkbook. Took it, wrote it for Hands of Respect LLC, signed it for $300,000, forged his signature, then flipped it over on the back and had signed pay to the order of, and then sign it over to somebody else. Because if you can do that on checks, you can endorse it for somebody else to cash it. And that's probably how they got around doing it. Never mind the fact also Bank of America. They're just notoriously horrible. I just want to keep reminding people, don't bank with Bank of America. Credit unions, far better. So that's my theory on this one, is that whoever did it had signed it away on the back end to another account. That person then signed it. But here's the thing. If this is in fact the check that went through the bank, because they would, take a screenshot of it when it gets processed, it would go, it would be, sometimes I get letters from my bank with checks, right? Or I can go to my bank account and I can look to see if I've written a check, and it will then tell me the check, and it will scan an image of it so I can see it. So they would have been aware of this. It's from October 4th. But whoever did this clearly was able to hide it well enough, probably because they endorsed it to somebody else on the backside of the check. That is what we're not seeing here, but that's pretty much what I think went down. And detectives are, they're going to be looking into that information and getting those bank records. And it makes me wonder who did it, because it's going to be a very small list of people. It is. It's going to be whoever is working at SL Productions, which probably won't be that many people, and then also who works at Hands of Respect LLC, or if there's any crossover there. And, who possibly might be having money troubles towards the end of the year. I don't know who's going to have to get $300,000 in order to, pay off some debts and get their kids a solid Christmas. Well, it's Los Angeles, so $300,000 does kind of seem like it would be adequate for that. So Stan Lee and those investigating the check reportedly believe that Lee is a victim of fraud. They also believe that the fraudulent check was written by somebody within the foundation and had planned on keeping the payment for themselves. If Lee investigators have any idea who that is, they haven't revealed that information yet. Yeah, but the truth is, why would they reveal that information? Look, when it comes to solving a murder, I think you want to reveal a lot of information in order to help the public, get in on the action. When you release just tidbits of information and you're asking for help, it doesn't give you a lot to go on if you are trying, for people to subconsciously place in the back of their mind in order to help out. Here, because it's a fraud case, because it's check fraud, because it's theft of money, they can play their cards closer to their chest simply because they'll be able to. But they wouldn't reveal that right away. Like I said, go to the backside of the check, and I believe the backside of the check is going to be where we're going to find out probably most of the information surrounding this. But one thing here to consider, and I'm just going to put this out there as a bit of a devil's advocate sort of situation. The final paragraph here says, now news of Lee's police report comes just one day after the comic book legend turned 95 years old. Now, Stan Lee is not a person who comes across as your standard 95-year-old. He's very spry. He's very witty, but age does take its toll. Just recently, his wife passed away, which is tragic and sad. And there was a story that Kevin Smith told about Stan Lee coming to his house to be on his podcast. I heard this a while back. That kind of gives you an idea as to where maybe he is mentally, where they were leaving the house and Stan Lee, older in his 90s, kind of a fragile old little man, was talking to Kevin Smith and, turned around and, basically was going to fall down a flight of stairs, but his assistant was able to grab him and hold him, keep him from doing that. And when Kevin Smith looked at the assistant basically said, 4 times a day this has happened, or, it happens a lot. So maybe at his age, he's not as spry as we thought. Maybe he doesn't remember writing away a check or authorizing a check for $300,000 to his charity. However, a police report's been filed, and now this information is considered public as a result of that. And so we look at that and go, yeah, maybe there is. Now, at no point am I saying that Lee is forgetful and did this, but I'm pointing it out as a possibility. As you know, you get to that age, you sometimes forget these things, and it's not like Lee himself isn't a multi-millionaire to where $300,000 is just kind of like pocket change money, really. So, you know, because to people like you and me, 300 grand is a lot of cash. 300 G's is insane. But to people like Stan Lee and those in Hollywood, especially those in like the Marvel world, you know, where they make billions of dollars through their properties, 300 grand is not as much as you might think, you know. And so it's one of those things where whoever maybe did this, if it did happen, probably figured that no one would miss $300,000. And I just want to tell you this right now. When I used to work in LA, I worked at a flower shop, and my job would be to send flowers to celebrities. And you would be amazed how much fraud goes on in Hollywood. These people have so much money. There is so much identity theft, so much fraud that happens that you'd be amazed at how many times a day I'd have to add in new American Express cards to our system simply because there was an identity theft and the thief got away with a lot of money. So they just opened a new card, and here we are spending $400 on a bouquet of flowers that only has a 48-hour guarantee of vibrancy. You know what I mean? Like, so again, in this world, it's entirely different for how people like Stan Lee and others spend money. So, you know, to them, yeah, they want to look into it. But at the end of the day, 300 grand is not going to mean as much to him as 300 might mean to you or me. Something to consider. But I do want to know your guys' thoughts on this one. What's your theory? Let's hear it. Do you think it was an inside job? Do you think Lee is just forgetful? Is someone out there rolling around in $300,000 in cold hard cash on a beach in Zihuatanejo? These are things I want to know. Go ahead and let me know in the comments. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel. If you haven't already, thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel. Help me hit that 200,000 subscriber goal for 2018. And if you want to see more content from me, you can do so right now.